Welcome to UMass Sports Weekly. Now, joining me at the table to discuss some UMass basketball, Mark the Shark Daly and Mark Jean-Louis. You are familiar with them. They are Mark E. Mark. Guys, welcome to the show. Let's start it off right for them. Now, some ups and downs in this past week of UMass basketball. Saw a solid win at George Washington. Good win for the boys there, as George Washington had a really solid record, actually the same record as us going into the game. And then we had a really tough loss, first loss at home of the year, to George Mason, who we just haven't played well against this year now. Mark, why don't you take us over the George Mason game? Really rough. Had it at home, though, so we got some coverage of that, some highlights of that. But just a really tough loss for the guys that, was just really disappointing to watch. But what happened in that game?
I mean, absolutely. I think I actually said this last week in our last show, that they had to shut down the guards, Brian Allen and Sherrod Wright, in order to have a chance in this game, but they just couldn't, absolutely. And as we go to the highlights over here, you'll see, as we watch the highlights over here, Sherrod Wright just absolutely went off over here. Up here you go. There's a three-point shot from downtown. It looks like there's no one guarding him on that one. And then again, just another open look. I believe that one was from Sherrod Wright again. And then again, off a fast break, horrible defense over there. And again, another easy 2 points. Again, Sherrod Wright for that matter. Another bucket over there. And then again, you see same theme over here. And again, he just makes it look easy. And that's how, absolutely. Just going from the start of the game, what they had to do is they had to shut down Brian Allen and Sherrod Wright to start this game. They just could not do that. Brian Allen, he had 15 points in this game. Sherrod Wright had 22 points in this game. And just almost from the get-go, GMU got off to a 10-5 lead, and from there, the UMass had to play catch-up. They just could not get back to the game, just going across the board. GMU, they shot 47% from the field, and this is a team that does not score a ton of points in the Atlantic 10 Conference. UMass could only shoot 39% from the field. And then from the free throw line, UMass, again, not really a whole lot of impressive shots only there. They missed 11 free throws in the game and shot 63%, while GMU, they were able to shoot better than 75%. So again, a whole bunch of opportunities in this game, but UMass just failed to capitalize, and GMU just was able to take away from it early and take control. Yeah,
that seems to really have been just the talk of everyone around, especially around here in the studio, is free throws. They have been just poor on free throws this entire season. And that stuff, they talk about being a tourney team. And free throws become huge in the tournament. Every point matters. And if you're going out there shooting 40%, 50%,
can't cut it.
It's not going to cut it. And that's something they need to change. Hopefully we'll see it in upcoming games. But yeah, that has definitely been a problem that we've been seeing with them. And we remember early in the year they really struggled with George Mason before at George Mason. Really deserved to lose the game and brought it down to the very end and won. Yep. But just not good performances. I don't know if it's something with George Mason, but not great performances. But a good performance we did see in the game at George Washington. Minutemen won that game 67-61. Good way to bounce back. Mark, why don't you give us a little recap of that game?
Well, definitely it was a must-win after a terrible loss to George Mason. A team that was going into the game was 8-15 overall, 1-9 in the A10 going into that game. So that we really needed a win, and we came through and got it. And I think the biggest reason we did win that was because we were focused. Going into the George Mason game, anyone that was at the game happened to be there early. They definitely saw that UMass was not focused. In warm-ups, they were out practicing their dunks instead of it was a show, and it was not. They definitely were fooling around. They weren't focused. And then for any of the media that stayed around, usually when they go to the press conference, it's within 15 minutes of the game ending. And after George Mason's win the other day, Derek Kellogg took over a half an hour to get to his press conference, which means he was in the locker room really, really getting down on his team. And I think that's what they needed. They needed to clear their minds. They needed to get this idea of we're still a top 25 team out of that way, because I think that became a distraction. So going into the George Washington game, they were really focused. And for a team that had come into the game, had 19 wins, it was a must-win. And for a team as UMass that has not played well on the road, it was also a good sign for them. A couple of players that really stepped up. Everyone knows Chaz is. A lot of team strategy has been focused on Chaz. So a guy like Samson Carter, who had 20 points, including 4 for 5 from the three-point line, which was a career best for him. And Derek Gordon, who's really stepped up in the last 4 out of his last 5 games, he scored in double digits. So those two really helped lead the way in a game that really came down to the wire and was a must-win, and they were able to do the job.
Yeah, huge game from Samson Carter. He was on fire that game. That was fun to watch him shooting the ball. And Derek Gordon, you're right, lately he's really been showing some of this potential we heard so much about when he transferred from Western Kentucky. And he's a real bright spot for this team right now. And it's good to have him working it with Chaz.
Absolutely.
Been fun to watch. Now, big game for UMass, one of their biggest games of the season. They'll be taking on VCU at the Mullen Center on Friday. It'll be on ESPN2, nationally televised. Everybody always loves that. Now, this is a big game for them, especially going forward with the remainder of this season, and also, as we always talk about, wanting to be a tourney team. VCU, a likely tourney team. Shaka Smart, popular coach, well-known names. Teams like that tend to get in there. UMass needs to take down a team like this. So, Mark, I'll start with you, close Mark. Why don't you give us a little idea of what you think the Minutemen need to do in order to beat VCU?
Well, it's the VCU team that's going to be playing us on Friday night. It's going to be a battle of the guards. They have 9 guards on their roster. 9 out of their 15 players are guards. And they're really going to have... So, Chaz and Derek Gordon, Trey Davis is going to have to step up. They're going to have to play that guard game because that's what VCU depends on. But at the same time, because they have so many guards on the team, it means they don't have a lot of big guys, which means Caddy, Maxi Esho, Tyler Bergantino are really going to have to step up and have a big presence in the paint because they should be able to, there should be no reason for them not to with so many guards on VCU's team. 2 guys in particular that they're going to have to watch out for. Trevion Graham, averaging just under 16 points per game. He's 6'6", but he plays the guard position. So, I mean, a big boy like that, he's not playing down low. So that's something that I think UMass is going to have to take advantage of. And Melvin Johnson, averaging 10.5 points a game, their forward. He's also a freshman now, which I think is going to play big role into the way VCU lines up this week. They have a lot of young players on their team, and I think that's something that the UMass will be able to take advantage of. It's down to the end of the season. I think their experience, the fact that we have 3 redshirt seniors on our team, where they have so many young guys in their lineup, I think that experience is going to help UMass going forward. And as you said, it's a big game for UMass. It's a sellout. It's going to be a big game. And I think that's the atmosphere that UMass plays the best in, and I think it's going to be a good recipe for what's to come if they want to go into the tournament. Yeah,
you say that guard being 6'6", you see Chaz going up against a guard 6'6", playing D on him. Stay low, go fast, go blow right by him. It's going to be an interesting matchup there. Like you said, we're a very guard-reliant team. 9 guards on their roster, another guard-reliant team. Probably going to see a very, very fast-paced game, exciting game. The type of basketball really that we've been seeing from the A-10, the entire A-10 lately, turning into a powerhouse of a conference, and I will continue to claim that. Guys, thank you very much. Actually, Mark, let's get your opinion first. What do you think the men need to do? Mark covered a lot here, so
exactly. I was about to say, like, you're not going to go through commercial break without at least getting my 2 cents in here. But yes, I mean, as I look at VCU coming into the Mullen Center on Friday, this is a team, at least as far as standings-wise goes, they are very similar to UMass as far as standings go. UMass, I believe, is 20-5. 7-4 in the Atlantic 10, and VCU is 20-6. I believe they're 8-3, or 6, yes. 8-3, going to Atlantic 10. And what I see from this VCU team is that they're actually first in the nation in steals. This will be a very different test than what UMass has seen so far this year. So yeah, ball protection is key in this game. If they want any chance to win, they need to hold on to that ball and keep VCU from stealing the ball. And like Mark over here said earlier, they need to watch out for Trevion Graham. He's one of the best guards in the Atlantic 10 Conference, just averaging under 16 points a game. And also their forward, Javante Reddick, he's shooting better than 53% from the field. So yeah, he's going to be a force on the offensive floor. If UMass can shut down those 2 players, it gives them a chance to hang around in this game.
It's going to be an exciting A-10 battle at the Mullen Center. I'm sure student tickets are probably close to gone, if not gone already. They had just 3,000 to give out. Going to be a packed house. Going to be a very fun game, Mark. Thank you for that 2 cents. I almost left out, but we need everyone's 2 cents around here. We're all pretty broke college students. Guys, appreciate it. Next up, we have coverage of the beginning of the men's lacrosse season. But first, check out this interview our very own Adamo Pulzone got with James ahead about.